All right, y'all, back in the building for another one. We're gonna be looking at let's see, we're gonna be reacting to He Never Sold His Soul and Still Made 50 Million. The legend that is uh Chamillionaire, legend, and one of few rappers that didn't stay in the rap game too long and went off and did something else. Let's get it popping.
One-hit wonder is a term often used to insult someone. Even though nothing really defines a hit, it's used to insult an artist who's only had one very popular, viral, or maybe Billboard charting song. I guess if someone is actively pursuing music, this is an insult basically saying they've already peaked and they won't ever outdo themselves, which is a pretty harsh burn. But what about someone who recognizes that they are a one-hit wonder and doesn't try to outdo their previous work? What about someone who embraces change and moves into a totally new career and becomes even more successful than their one hit? Today we are talking about Chamillionaire, a rapper who had one mainstream hit song, Ridin' Dirty, which gave him enough fame and fortune to escape music forever and move on into a new career.
I mean, I wouldn't say Chamillionaire had one hit. I think that's kind of disrespectful to the man. I think he had one song that went like probably double, triple platinum right now. He did have other songs that were hits. It's just mainstream wise, I guess that's probably the one that was the biggest one. I mean, Hip Hop Police was a pretty big song. Um, what is the name of his first single when he like first became mainstream? Mainstream. I'm gonna show you how to get the shine on. Turn it up, turn it up, turn it up was a big song too. I have followed Chamillionaire. I was like in middle school when Chamillionaire started to pop off like in the mainstream. But like as far as outside of that, of course, everybody know Chamillionaire here in Houston, of course. Of course, with Paul Wall and the Color Changing Clique, and his brother and all the rest of them definitely know who he is with his mixtape Messiah series and everything. I'm just trying to set the record straight and say that Chamillionaire has a lot of hits. Just commercially, Ridin' Dirty might be the biggest one, but there are other songs that he had when he was in the mainstream as well. That's all I'm trying to say.
Where he would generate tens, potentially hundreds of millions of dollars. Look at all the jewelry, all the clothes, all the brand new cars, all the fancy houses. It seems like the general understanding of rappers is that they are filthy rich. Even your average upcoming rapper is probably flashing cash and flexing their lifestyle that they probably don't live. Most rappers are not as rich as they portray themselves to be. Fake it till you make it, they say. It's rare that these artists can amass tens of millions of dollars just based on their music. Why? In short, the music business is designed to get labels more rich, not the artist. It's often where rappers sign terrible contracts, do not own their creations, and only make around 20% of the revenue that it generates. Chamillionaire saw the trap. He experienced what it was like to have a label take advantage of an artist. One time he even learned the label was hiding $600,000 from him. But the funny thing about it is, he never started music to get rich. I know it's hard to believe that a rapper named Chamillionaire isn't all about money, but his name is inspired by him relating to chameleons. Hakeem Sariki was an introverted guy who was very curious and very observant. While attending Jersey Village High School in Houston, Texas in the mid-90s, he watched kids at school freestyling at lunch.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, Chamillionaire is from the north side of Houston. It's from the north side of Houston, you feel me? Buddy is from the north side of Houston, Jersey Village, you feel me? On that side of things, you feel me? But yeah, man. Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. That's crazy.
Lunch. He sat back for weeks watching. What made the crowd react? He thought he could do it better than them. He recognized that people would go crazy when you rapped about someone's hat or shirt, so that they all knew you just thought of the line off the top of your head.
You the poster boy for acne cream.
so he practiced freestyling off the top of his head to gain respect from his peers. One of those peers was Paul Wall. They grew up on the same street, knowing each other since they were toddlers. They both attended Jersey Village High School, and Chamillionaire always looked up to Paul. He was charismatic, someone everyone wanted to be friends with. But Cam was more of a background guy. He liked to blend in and observe. They started a group together called the Sleepwalkers. After high school and a bit more experience in the Houston, Texas rap scene, they rebranded as the Color Changing Clique. They had no management. Paul was the friendly guy who made relationships, and Cam was the hard-headed businessman. They thought themselves to be kind of like a good cop, bad cop, where Cam was the bad cop. They would book their own shows, sometimes doing them for free, just to get their name out there. They recorded mixtapes and printed CDs all by themselves with their own money, and would drop.
And can I just say that nobody ever talks about this, but Chamillionaire can sing, bro. Chamillionaire can sing. Like, I don't know if anybody has ever taken the time to just go through Chamillionaire's discography or the Paul Wall and Chamillionaire discography, but Chamillionaire can sing, bro. I just wanted to stop the video and say that he can sing. Man has a crazy vocal range. That's what I wanted to say.
Drive city to city selling them. Cam even had a website in 2002 where he would sell merch, his own CDs, his friends' mixtapes. He had a mailing list that people could join, and even his phone number just posted out there. He knew the value of the internet way before every other rapper. Here's Cam in 2012 breaking down the intricacies of his old website.
Okay, I'm gonna make a vault on my website, right? And in the vault, we're gonna have a leaderboard. So all of these fans are gonna do actions for me. I kind of use the military theme. You know, my company is called Chamillionaire. So we started doing levels and badges. Like, you know, you could become a sergeant, a general, and all these different levels in the Chamillionaire. So now these fans have bragging rights. So look, this is some of the stuff I started putting up in the award center. I put up a Mixtape Messiah plaque. This is one of my mixtapes. I went and made a plaque for it. I've got the original painting from my second album. I've got the jacket.
Bro, that is fire. You could definitely tell that Chamillionaire was destined to do something else. I could never understand it back then, why he stopped rapping. I mean, I know that, like, of course it was label politics that like prevented him from doing what he really wanted to do, but like you could definitely tell he was definitely destined to do something greater than just be your stereotypical African American in America, either playing sports or being a rapper. That is some serious talent. Like, and he was thinking of this before the internet, before the rap world was really even spearheading the internet like that. That's crazy. Look at this. Mixtape Messiah plaque. Ultimate Victory original painting. Oh, the jacket from the Riding Dirty video. That's crazy. Wow.
I wore in the Riding Dirty video. The reward actually gets sent to the fan. The fan sends me the picture. I upload the picture for everybody, and he brags to everybody like, haha, look at me with the plaque.
The independent grind was rare at a time where most aspiring artists were focusing on getting noticed by a record label or another poppin' rapper. But all the major labels were based in New York or LA, so in Houston, Texas, they had to make their own way. Little by little, city after city, Cam watched his fan base grow in front of his eyes. All that grind, losing money for years, paid off in 2002 with the release of their first album, Get Your Mind Correct, which sold over 150,000 copies and was nominated by The Source as Independent Album of the Year. This album is a Texas classic and brought the duo to new heights. Unfortunately, all this grind and success just brought more animosity between the two. They each had different ideas for how to continue their careers, so they decided to part ways. Paul went back to the legendary Swishahouse label and collective, whereas Chamillionaire focused on being his own boss and building a solo name. He released his legendary Mixtape Messiah in 2004, which was a 3-disc record with 60 songs. This went on to sell 40,000 copies independently. He started his MySpace page in 2004 and had millions of page views. At this point, he had a forum on Chamillionaire.com with 34,000 registered users. People would just go on here and chat about anything, like a private social media site. He had an email list with tens of thousands of fans who he could directly market his mixtape to. Not only was he willing to do the real-life grind of handing out mixtapes, but he also understood the value of social media and connecting with his fans online before it was normal. He started a custom car shop called Fly Rides. Most rappers are not buying the cars you see in their videos. They rent them for one day for thousands of dollars. Cam had tons of connections to rappers who needed cars, so he bought a bunch of them, customized them Texas style, and rented them to his rapper friends. Or if they wanted to splurge and buy one, he would be the guy they would go to customize their rides. He started a modeling agency called Masterpiece Mindframe, where he would get hip-hop video girls consistent work in the industry. And he started the Victory Tour Bus, where he would buy luxury tour buses with internet, cable televisions, showers, and rent them to his artist friends when they needed to hit the road.
Nah, man, this dude is a serious entrepreneur. Way before his time. Way before his time, bro. He was doing all of this in like 2004, 2005, 2006, bro. He was doing all of this, like, he was doing all of this early in the game, bro. Like, what rapper is thinking about making a car, a luxury car rental service for rappers, or making a modeling agency for video girls to be able to get decent work being video girls in videos? You can't make this stuff up, bro. You cannot.
Cam was making big independent moves, but he knew he needed a major label if he wanted to have a monumental impact on hip-hop. He started his own label, Chamillionaire Entertainment, and landed a joint venture with Universal Records. A joint venture was one of the hardest partnerships to get in the early 2000s. Because he already sold 100,000 records independently, he had leverage. Plus, he visited literally every single other label and told them that he was comfortable with leaving without getting a deal. So Universal had no choice but to give him a good deal. At that time, most rappers signed royalty deals for a lump sum, let's say $500,000, with an 80-20 split favoring the label. But that sum is a loan, so they have to pay it back. The label would typically own the masters as well. Once a song or album generates $500,000, which in 2004 would be around 38,000 sales, with the average album cost being $13, the artist is no longer in debt, but will only earn 20% of the revenue. However, typically with a JV, you and the label are 50-50 partners. The label doesn't give you an advance unless you want it, but they spend all the money for producing, mixing, and marketing the album. Basically, they take all the financial risk and split the reward in half with the artist. Chamillionaire's first album, The Sound of Revenge, released in 2005, and sold 800,000 copies in its first 2 weeks. If they sold it at an average of $13, that's $10.4 million. If the album cost $1 million to make, which is very possible considering the wide variety of producers and features on the project, he still would have generated $4.7 million in 2 weeks. By the end of 2005, The Sound of Revenge secured 1.5 million copies sold, but the single from the album, Ridin', would go on to change his life. Ridin' debuted at number 88 on the Billboard Hot 100 February 26, 2006, which was 8 weeks after the album dropped.
I don't know why I thought he was signed to, what is that, Universal? I thought he was signed to Universal. I didn't know it was like a, what do they call that? A partnership? Like it's like split down the middle or whatever. I thought he was actually signed to Universal. That's crazy. I didn't know he was just, I didn't know he just took his record label and just pretty much wanted a distribution deal. That's pretty much what it was. So he was really just signed to himself, but taking a distribution deal from Universal. I didn't even know that. That's crazy. I thought he was actually signed, and that's what messed up everything for him.
It slowly climbed higher and higher on the charts until June 28th. 4 months later, it peaked at number 1 and stayed there for 2 weeks in a row. The song sold 3.2 million ringtones, making him the first multi-platinum master-tone artist in history. Yes, before Soulja Boy. He won the Grammy Award for Best Rap Performance by a Duo or Group. Even Weird Al Yankovic's parody of his song, White and Nerdy, peaked at number 9 on the Billboard Hot 100 and was Al's first platinum record. It's safe to say that Ridin' was the hottest rap song of 2006. It was a hit.
Young Nigga that just in the game to get some money, man, and that's my story, man. You know, I want to get my family out of poverty and you know, watch my family living good, and I did that, and people respect that. So
Cam's mission was very clear: get some money and get his family out of poverty. He made millions of dollars from riding in his album because of his joint venture. His deal was so good, he probably made more money off this song and album than most artists do in their whole careers. There was no rush to keep dropping music. He did mixtapes for the passion and to keep his relevance, but his eyes were set on something much bigger. His sophomore album, Ultimate Victory, went gold. He had a couple singles that did well, but nothing near the level of Ridin'. Like I said, he didn't need to work as hard selling records because he made more money from a gold record than someone who went 2 or 3 times platinum. But for the next few years, he just did whatever he wanted creatively. He stayed in touch with his fan base through MySpace, Ustream, Twitter. Most people give Soulja Boy the credit for being the internet rapper, but Cam was way ahead of Soulja Boy. He just doesn't brag about it. Cam tried to educate his peers, but they thought he was annoying. He tried to teach them some game. Stay out of the club, stop wasting your money on your image. They didn't want to hear what he had to say. It was like when your dad turns everything into a life lesson. He was having trouble with Universal. They forced him to put out his Ultimate Victory record as a censored version with no curse words, so that Best Buy and Walmart would give him preferential treatment and put his album in front of 50 Cent and Kanye's. He lied to the public and said he wanted to do a clean record, but he was just obeying the label's commands. He's a few years removed from Ridin', and they want him to make millions for them again. Venom was supposed to be his 3rd studio album to release in 2009, but the label kept trying to make creative changes, which kept pushing back the release. He was fed up with the music industry.
when I got in before, I used to think it was just gonna be like, you know, fun and having fun outside of actual recording. Like, it's the person that understands business that's the most successful.
This was Cam's mindset in 2009. He started attending tech conferences because he was a real-life example of using technology to make millions. He sat in the back rows, blending in.
I kind of wonder, did he go to like college or something? Let me look that up. Did Chamillionaire go to college? I mean, he's Nigerian, so I would think he did go to college. Let me see. He's very smart enough to go, smart enough to not care what's going on with, you know, the music industry trying to tear him down and destroy him and turn him into a slave. He's a very smart guy. And then that part about them saying that he basically was doing all that stuff that Soulja Boy brags about, but he's just quiet about it. Let me see. Did Chamillionaire go to college? Oh, he went to the University of Houston. Oh, I didn't even know that. Yeah, he went to the University of Houston. That's crazy. I didn't even know that. I had no idea. Wish I could find out what he majored in. But yeah, that's crazy. Crazy. He's literally one of the smartest rappers to come out of to come out of Houston. Just the way he turned a negative into a positive.
To the crowd like a chameleon, listening, observing. As more time went on, he made connections. Eventually, he got to be a speaker at a conference in LA to talk about how he used social media to advance his music career. One of the tools he used was Say Now. Say Now was a service where artists and celebrities could give out a phone number to their fans, and the fans could call or text the artist. Soulja Boy famously put his Say Now number in the song Kiss Me Through the Phone. Chamillionaire would connect the Say Now executives with the rappers that they wanted to work with. He was so valuable to.
Wait a minute. Wait, what? So he's the reason why all these rappers and singers had those make-believe numbers so their fans could call them? Wow. That's crazy. That's dope.
To say now that they gave him a little % ownership in the company. Cam was shocked. Ownership? After the company sold to Google for, quote, tens of millions of dollars, Cam knew his future was not in music. At that tech conference, he caught the attention of Markuster. Mark is an American entrepreneur and venture capitalist. He is a managing partner at Upfront Ventures, which is the largest venture capital firm in Los Angeles. Mark took him under his wing into the world of tech. venture capitalism, and angel investing. He invited Cam to private events with executives from Disney, Fox, Warner, media agencies, and startup CEOs. They even co-invested in companies. One of them was Maker Studios, which reportedly sold to Disney for $675 million. Chamillionaire was getting smarter. His friend Nelly told him about the importance of auditing the record label, so Cam hired Jay-Z's auditor to basically conduct a financial examination of the Universal and Chamillionaire joint venture. Turns out they were hiding $600,000 from him. In 2011, Cam wanted out of his deal after not being able to release his third album for 2 years. He told the label if they didn't end his partnership.
Wait a minute. So not only did they did they shelve his third album from coming out, they were hiding 600K from him? Man. Now when you wonder why he don't do music no more, or people say he fell off, or he's a one-hit wonder, look, you gotta you gotta put a magnifying glass on what happened to why he doesn't want to do it. Damn it.
He would teach every artist on their roster how to do an audit and find out how much money the label was withholding from them, so they let him go. To the fans, Cam was still dropping mixtapes, but to him, he was done with music. He was ready to dive into the tech world. He got his friends, Big Boy from Outkast, Trey Songz, E40, all to get interested in this entrepreneurship world. In 2015, he became an entrepreneur in residence at a VC to immerse himself more in the tech world.
Entrepreneur in residence is there's a venture capital firm, and I will go in there and sit in there every day, basically be involved in all the pitch meetings. When pitching to a venture capitalist, I'll be sitting in the room just listening.
He invested in Lyft before they went public. Lyft obviously became the second biggest ride-sharing app to this day. He invested in Cruise, which was an autonomous vehicle company that was acquired by General Motors for over $1 billion. He invested in the doorbell company Ring, which was acquired by Amazon for over $1 billion. Chamillionaire has established himself as a savvy investor who sees the potential in companies. For the past few years, he's been working on his app Convos, which is a social video app for genuine conversations with real people. Today, Chamillionaire is invested in over 60 companies, one of them being a hot sauce company, Sienna Sauce. His portfolio is diverse, not just focused on big tech. The ironic thing about all of this, despite Google saying his net worth is $50 million and that he's probably the richest one-hit wonder of all time, he doesn't want people to get caught up in the money. He's leading by example on how to build wealth, how to play the long game. You won't just jump into Silicon Valley and become a multi-millionaire overnight. Since 2002, Cam has been ahead of the curve. You saw the websites he was building. You saw him on MySpace and Twitter before everyone else. You saw him selling ringtones, landing a joint venture, then working with Say Now. He knew Spotify was going to take over the music industry in 2010 before it was available in the United States. Cam was always focused on the future, while every other rapper was
he knew Spotify was going to be big?
Chains and cars. They are still doing that in 2022. They are stuck maintaining that lifestyle for what? Instagram followers? Look at what he wears now, worth $50 million. Versus when he was a rapper worth just a few million.
Look at him, he's wearing less
chains. Let the world
chains.
define him as just a
He
rapper.
don't dress nothing like he used
fame,
to dress.
notoriety, and first fortune through music. Then leveraged that to build a second career as a tech investor. Then he used his knowledge as an investor to become a founder of his own app, Convos. I'm not sure what Cam's next move will be, but I'm sure he knows it. And we probably...
Low key, honestly, and this is just the truth, I feel like Chamillionaire is worth way more than $50 million, man. If he's dabbling in the tech industry, ain't no way he ain't in the, you know what I'm saying, in the billions already. Ain't no way he ain't close to the billions already. Ain't no way he ain't close to the billions, bro. But honestly, people should be learning from this experience right here. Or rappers, a lot of rappers who are in their fourth and fifth and 6 years in the rap game should be learning from his experience in the rap game. Or even somebody like Master P. Like, they're both the same. It's like those are both the same, because Master P had a point in time where he almost basically lost everything, and then he came back from all. Chamillionaire, I wouldn't say he lost things, but he knew he wasn't gonna last he knew he didn't want to continue playing idol with the music industry, because music industry has shown their ass to him to kiss. So what did he do? He learned more about tech and leaned on into that. And I'm sure uh I looked up that he went to college, so I mean I'm sure he had an affinity for tech before he even got into music. Or maybe there was somebody in his family that was like, hey bro, you should probably try to do something in tech. So yeah, bottom line, Millionaire, regardless of what anybody wants to say, is a legend. He don't, just like this, just like Patrick CC said, after a while he didn't have to make music anymore because he had already made the money he needed to make independently. First off, he had made it independently first off. Then in when he got commercial, he made even more money than what he expected to make. And he started to take some of that money and just invest it. And little by little, he pulled back and scaled back and eventually left. You know?